The Chicago White Sox started off hot and kept their foot on the gas for almost the entire game, beating the Oakland Athletics 14-2 on Thursday night. All 9 starters got in on the action, and Dylan Cease turned in another stellar outing. The White Sox are playing some great baseball at the perfect time. Don't stop now.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Sox fans, welcome to Locked On White Sox. Thank you for making Locked On White Sox your first listen each and every day. We're free and available at all platforms. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Locked On White Sox. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey, I'm your host, Nick Morawski, a lifelong diehard Chicago White Sox fan, recording this podcast just blocks from the ballpark in beautiful Bridgeport. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Really appreciate you letting me steal some of your time to talk White Sox. Locked On White Sox is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Maybe not his best stuff, but Dylan Cease got the job done during a blowout. Sox had 21 hits, 10 extra base hits, and 5 home runs in Oakland. And it sounds like Tony La Russa wants to get in on all the fun. When will he be back? State of the Chicago White Sox, they are 70-68. 1.5 games back in the AL Central, chasing the Cleveland Guardians. There are 24 games left on the schedule. I don't know about you, but I was still buzzing about Wednesday's game against Seattle. What a comeback win that was. Wondering if the momentum from Seattle will carry over to Oakland. Here's what some of the players were saying about that big win in Seattle. This was Elvis Andrus. Quote, especially the way the game started, what they had on the mound. It shows the heart and resiliency of this team. It was a huge win for this team. Now carry it to the next series, end quote. How about Liam Hendriks? This is what he had to say. Quote, these were the games earlier in the year we weren't able to pull out. That's one thing we got going in this clubhouse right now. We're not backing down. We're not afraid to claw our way back and do that sort of stuff. It was a good team effort, end quote. And here's a one that I've mentioned before, but you got to repeat this one from Miguel Cairo. This was talking about the team's effort in that Wednesday win against Seattle. Quote, this team is good. No, not good, really good. And this is what you will get every day. We're going to make good really good. And it showed today, it showed yesterday and the day before at home. And this is what you're going to get every day, end quote. The Chicago White Sox tried to seemingly exercise all of their previous demons at the Oakland Coliseum in one game. White Sox destroyed the A's 14-2. It was the most runs the Sox have ever scored at the Oakland Coliseum. The excitement keeps on rolling for the Sox, but we got to get to a couple situations. Really one big one involving Tony La Russa. This was all before the game on Thursday. John Heyman, New York Post, reporting more about TLR. It seems like La Russa might possibly return to the Sox dugout at some point next week. La Russa is hoping to attend Dave Stewart's number 34 retirement ceremony in Oakland on Sunday before rejoining the Sox. That's according to Heyman's report. Tony La Russa wants to get back, but we have not heard yet from the White Sox. The Sox are 7-3 without La Russa. The Sox were 6 games back in the Central when TLR went on medical leave. Sox are now a game and a half out. I wonder if, the players have a say in this. If they could take a vote, they love meetings. They've had a lot of them this year. Maybe they have another meeting and present their findings to Rick Hahn, if you can find him, or Jerry, if he'd even listen or care. But it is Jerry's world, of course. Perhaps, there's more love for TLR than we assume. Maybe players just needed a break from a bit. Or maybe there's love for him, but they just don't want him to be their manager. Maybe the White Sox are truly just playing better because they had a team meeting while La Russa was gone, and are starting to all of a sudden unlock the potential that they knew they had in them this whole time. They just needed the chance to talk it out with one another again while La Russa was gone, to say, hey, sure, we could have tried to have fun while the old man was around, but we didn't do it. So let's go have fun now and play the way we want to play. I don't know how that's going to shake out. We're waiting to hear what the White Sox have to say, but the Sox are a different team, no question about it, since Miguel Cairo took over. The Sox punched Oakland right in the mouth at the ring of the bell and did not let up. I'm going to tell you how Romy Gonzalez continues to make people notice. More on that in a moment. Guys, we all know that confidence can take you far in life. That's especially true in the bedroom, especially when it's time to step up to the plate. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready when an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew's tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped direct to your door in discreet packaging. It's time to get off the couch and back to work. If your tool needs an upgrade, head to bluechew.com. So if you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Locked On at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's bluechew.com, promo code Locked On to receive your first month free. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. It was a homecoming for several players on the White Sox, going back to Oakland. Elvis Andrus, of course, Liam Hendricks, Josh Harrison, Jake Diekman spent some time with the Oakland A's. Oakland Coliseum has not been kind to the Chicago White Sox over the years, nor have the Athletics. Just look back at the 2020 playoffs. Man, what a nightmare that ended up turning into. 1990, that was a year that the fine folks at Last Comiskey have been putting together in video form, and the Oakland A's were that team, that juggernaut in 88, 89, and 1990, that the Sox had a very surprising team in 1990, but just couldn't get past those pesky and powerful Oakland Athletics. The same thing in 1972, that great book, Chili Dog MVP, that's out, highlighting Dick Allen's MVP season in 1972. And what a season the White Sox had. But that Oakland A's team just kept them away from the postseason. Then, of course, you've got the La Russa connection. Tony La Russa managed in Oakland for several years after his original stint with the White Sox. I was at Oakland Stadium seeing the White Sox play the A's back in 2019. And I've been to 21 different stadiums, and I'm telling you, Oakland Coliseum, bottom of the barrel for me. I am not racing to get back there, that's for sure. So Thursday night, Sox at Oakland. Coming into the game, the Athletics were 50-87, fifth place in the AL West. However, it was the A's in Oakland, so you never knew what was going to happen. We figured that out quickly, though, as the A's were throwing left-handed pitcher J.P. Sears. First inning, wow, what an inning. We've been waiting for one of these innings, and I love that it happened in Oakland. Elvis Andrus, leadoff home run, quickly 1-0 Sox. Yoan Moncada follows suit, back-to-back home runs for the White Sox to start the game, 2-0 Sox. Abreu ripped a single, the third hit of the inning. Just an outstanding way to start for the Sox, especially after that big win in Seattle. How many times have we seen the Sox have this huge win and then go quietly the next game? I thought it was very important. Plus, it was the first game of the series. That has been difficult for the White Sox this year, not under Miguel Cairo. So second inning, Romy Gonzalez led off with a single, fourth hit for the White Sox already. Sebi Zavala ripped a double to right center, fifth hit of the game. Again, remind you, this is just the second inning. This type of offense has not happened very often for the Sox. You got 2 on, 1 out, looking to add to this 2-run lead. Andrus up for his second time of the game. Bloop single to center. Gonzalez scores 3-0 Sox. Moncada with a 3-run home run to left field. It's 6-0 Sox. Abreu with his second hit of the game. Sox treating J.P. Sears like a position player after 2 innings, 6 runs, 8 hits, 2 home runs, a double, and the Sox were 2 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Fourth inning, Eloy Jimenez having a remarkable second half of the season. He blasts a 2-run home run, his second home run in as many days. It's 8-0 White Sox. Then in the fifth, Gonzalez leads off with a double, his third hit of the game. He was thinking double the second that the ball left his bat, did not hesitate for a moment and beat a very good throw. Romy's hamstrings obviously in tip-top shape. Sox kept piling it on. Adam Engel joins the party, knocks Romy home, 9-0 Sox. Moncada makes it 10-0 with a blast off the center field wall. What has gotten into Yoan Moncada? He was a triple away from the cycle at this point, only the fifth inning. Go to the sixth, Romy Gonzalez with his fourth hit of the game, and it was a bomb. 3-run home run, 14-0 Sox at this point. And then Moncada tacked on his fifth hit of the game. Unbelievable what I was witnessing watching this game. So many games. Again, this is only the first game of the series. We still have 3 more games, but what a way to start. Again, like we had mentioned at the top of this episode, 14 runs is the most that the Sox have ever scored in Oakland Coliseum. They had 21 hits, 10 extra base hits, 5 home runs. Sox were 5 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Yoan Moncada, 5 for 6, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. And Romy Gonzalez, how about this guy? What are you going to do with him when Tim Anderson comes back? You know, I think a lot of folks were saying, hey, you know what? We'll just send Romy back down. He's playing some defense, and he has been swinging the bat lately. Gonzalez, 4 for 5 on Thursday night with a home run and 3 RBIs. Mercy. Dylan Cease continues to rack up the strikeouts. I'm going to tell you why he is in good shape for the Cy Young stretch. More on that in a moment. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest Football League developments, game matchups, news, and podcasts, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline is also your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MLB, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Dylan Cease, it was his first start since he almost made history against the Minnesota Twins. Coming into the game, Dylan Cease ranked third in the American League in wins with 13, second in ERA, 2.13, second in strikeouts with 197, and first in opponent's average, 0.185. Again, Justin Verlander for the Houston Astros is on the IL, and Dylan Cease has an opportunity to make some serious ground in this Cy Young race. Every start is crucial. Dylan Cease, of course, given that 2-0 lead before he even started to pitch. The no-hitter bid ended quickly for Dylan Cease in the first inning. It was painless. He did record one strikeout, looking again for his 200th strikeout of the year. It was really just a matter of time. Cease had 226 in 2021. Second inning, it's 6-0 Sox at this point. Imagine that. You've got a 6-run lead and you've got Dylan Cease on the mound. A's had no chance. Cease got back to work, recorded his 199th strikeout of the season, and then got number 200 to end the inning. A 6-run lead for Dylan Cease is almost unfair. But then again, it was the Coliseum. We've seen some bizarre things happen there. After 4 innings, Dylan Cease giving up just 3 hits, 0 runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts at 63 pitches. Sox had the game in hand. You're wondering how long do you maybe keep Dylan Cease in? 5th inning, Cease had a 10-run lead entering the inning, and he got really stronger as the game went on. Slider was fun to watch. I mean, this guy wrote a poem about his slider. Oh, slider, slide. I'm sure if you were watching the telecast, you heard all about it if you didn't know already. 3 strikeouts in the inning, fastball, curveball, slider, everything was working. 6th inning, Dylan had a 14-run lead, and it was still added. A couple defensive replacements. You got Garcia and Sheets coming in. But that would be it for Dylan Cease. 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, a couple of walks, 9 strikeouts. Cease's ERA 2.06. He threw 95 pitches on Thursday night. So it was discussed on the telecast. Benetti, Gordon Beckham talking about it, even Ozzie Guillen when they flash back to the studio. Very difficult, sometimes sneaky difficult to pitch in a blowout game. Like what Cease was doing on Thursday night, but Dylan Cease stayed focused, continued to attack despite the lopsided score. He didn't let up. And I'm assuming the urgency of every game from here on out for the White Sox will continue to help the Dylan Cease make this run at the first Cy Young Award for a White Sox pitcher since 1993. Awesome stuff from Dylan Cease. 7th inning, Jose Ruiz came back into the game. We saw him in the Seattle series. He gave up a double, but the shutout was still in place. Vince Velasquez, who was huge in that Wednesday game in Seattle, he gave up a couple runs in the 8th and 9th, but that was it. 14-2. Chicago White Sox. The Sox will be battling the Oakland A's all weekend long. You got Giolito on the hill Friday, Lance Lynn on Saturday, and then Johnny Cueto on Sunday. While the Sox are taking care of business, hopefully in Oakland, Cleveland and Minnesota will be at each other all weekend long. Thanks for making this podcast part of your daily routine. You can find the Locked On White Sox podcast absolutely everywhere you find your podcast. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Sox. You can find me on Twitter at Nick_GGTB. Thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen. Now make your second listen the Locked On MLB podcast. MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up on the next episode, I will recap the weekend that was for our White Sox in Oakland, hopefully celebrating a sweep for the Sox. Really appreciate you making time for the Locked On White Sox podcast. I'm Nick Morawski. Until next time, go Sox.